The Athletic actually came up with a pretty cool article about some they came up actually with two articles. One article was like worst contracts in the league based on analytics, and then a second article about like the teams with the best and the teams with the worst contracts, but also based on this sort of scoring system that Dom Decision developed. And we're not gonna just like repeat verbatim from that list, but we kind of use it as a guide to think, well, who do we think has the best set of contracts and who do we think has the worst set of contracts? Do you want to start?
With the best?
You want to start with the best?
I'll
Sure.
start with the best. Come on, you got to give me the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like, this is gonna get so much hate. Is your answer the Leafs as well?
That's what I said, baby.
Is your answer the Leafs as
well? Oh yes, it is.
Like, come on, there's not a single bad contract on this team minus the John Tavares contract, and the John Tavares contract isn't even that bad. If you're telling me that a second line center who scored 52 years ago still put up 85 points this year, is probably gonna put up above 75 points next year, is a player's player, scores on the freaking first line power play, is getting 11 million. Okay, fine. He's probably worth 8.5, 9. If that's the only contract that you are overpaying, this contract list is phenomenal. Like, let's look. Like the Athletic does a good job of talking about surplus value. I think what this means is that the model projects what the player's market value currently is and subtracts that off what they're currently being paid. Austin Matthews' surplus value is at 20 million. I don't even know if there's a player who has a higher surplus value in the league next to McDavid and maybe McKinnon. Mitch Marner's surplus value is at $15 million. If we look at this, Mitch Marner is at a $10.9 million contract and Austin is 11.6. If these two guys were free agents this year, do you not think Austin, if he doesn't take a bargain, makes 15 and Mitch makes 12?
Easily.
Right? I mean, like we have heard this argument time and time again. We won't repeat ourselves with everyone just loving to hate the Leafs because the contracts are so bad. But if you took the Toronto Maple Leafs and relocated them to like Winnipeg, you look at the exact same contract list, you go, wow, this GM's a genius.
Yeah.
The only reason why you don't say that is because people are so biased because they hate the blue and white.
If it's like Calgary Maple Leafs, Brad Treliving gets a statue tomorrow in every Canadian city.
100%. Like this William Nylander contract, and I'm the most unbiased here because I've been very critical of Willie's play. $7 million is a steal for a point per game. First, he's a second line winger. Like, come on, he'd be making 9 and a bit this year if he just got signed. The Engvall deal at $2.3 million at 1 year isn't even bad either. And then when you look at their defense, like their defensemen, I'm sorry, the Morgan Riley deal at $7.5 million, I think is properly rated.
It's pretty market value.
Giordano's getting paid literally nothing. I don't understand how Timothy Liljegren only got $1.4 million for 2 years. He had a breakout year this year. I think he's only going to get better, and he's very valuable being a right shot.
Yeah.
He got and also there's like no term on this deal. How did he only get him at 1.4? Give me the Toronto Maple Leafs contracts all day. For sure. And put 100%. All the hate that you want in the comments.
And don't forget about Scarborough legend Michael Bunting too. Like, he's found like Dubas and the Leafs, the whole management team has done a great job of finding these little players who are gonna like play way above their pay grade. Is players playing above their pay grade not the metric for good value contracts?
100%.
Like that's what they do.
100%.
So I think I agree with the Leafs as well. We're gonna get hate, but hating us all you want.
Is there any like honorable mention that you could think of if you didn't?
I just feel like also like in my like rationale for the Leafs, it's the only team that I could think of where there wasn't a star who was severely undervalued. The Leafs paid all their stars when they were actually good. So Colorado, you have Nate McKinnon. Yeah, no kidding. They're gonna have one of the best value contract teams in the league because you got him for like what? It's not even $6 million that he makes.
He's 6.3, but still
6.3. Sorry, like there are other teams like even Boston. Pasternak makes way below market value. There's not a star on the Leafs who make way below market value, which means that they really have to give value to their other contracts. And I think that's a pretty good rationale for why the Leafs are one of the best, if not the best, in terms of their contracts.
That's very fair. This list is not adjusted for the fact that a lot of these teams have players that were signed when they weren't good, had breakout years on term.
Yes.
Right? You said it very well. Like Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, William Nylander, all were free agents, unfortunately, for the Toronto Maple Leafs when they were in form.
They were already good.
And they still have the best contract list.
Exactly. That was a big reason why I ended up picking them.
Yeah, it has to be over. When you look at Colorado at face value, obviously Mikko Rantanen at $9.3 million is, I think, fairly valued. Landeskog at 7x7. That contract might get kind of worse when he's older. Like the McKinnon one, you can't count at 6.3, like you said, because next year he's going to want 15.
Yeah, and he'll be worth it. But like right now, he's literally getting paid like a third line center or a second line, borderline second line winger when he's top 3 player in the NHL.
Yeah.
So it's just not fair.
What I will say, though, is from the Colorado Avalanche, probably the best contract in the NHL is the Cale Makar one, even though that he makes $9 million.
Jeez. That's one of the... They paid him like when he was really good, and he's even better already.
He's got even better. If he was a free agent this year after winning the Conn Smythe and the Cup, and he didn't take a discount, the dude could definitely sign like a 12 by something by 8.
Well, Carlson got 11.
Yeah.
And so did Doughty.
Yeah.
Like if that's the president, he's getting more than that.
He probably would have been the highest paid player in the NHL this year.
Which is crazy. And he'd be worth it too.
As a 23-year-old.
That's not ideal for us, but good for him.
Okay, who's the worst contract list that you got?
I need to stop ripping on this team.
Okay, let me guess. Philly?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I need to stop because it's unhealthy.
It's kind of abusive at this point.
It is. It's kind of abusive. I take all my stress out on this team, but their contracts are terrible. Like they have the worst contracts I think in the league. Ellis, who literally hasn't played a game for them and hasn't played in the last years, makes 6.3. JVR makes 7. Atkinson, who's fine, he makes 6. Kevin Hayes makes 7 for the next 4 years. And how could I forget about my boy Ristolainen, who makes 5 for the next 5? All of those players are well overpaid. And that's their core as well, which is kind of unfathomable from a management perspective. But I'm going to stop myself from going on too long here and just say that they're bad. They're bad. And even if it was just based on contracts that they signed and not those that they traded for, because they traded for Ellis, they traded for Atkinson, which if you traded for the contract, you must have thought it was a good value, which is also part of the kind of like metric here. But they signed JVR, they signed Ristolainen, and they signed Hayes to those terrible contracts. So from trading and signing, no good. No good in Philly. Yeah. It's not always sunny in Philadelphia. Bada bing, bada boom.
Is that the name of our episode this week?
Maybe, actually. We'll see.
I think I'm going to go San Jose. I mean, if you...
that's a good choice.
For anybody who wants to follow along, if you just Google, like, worst contract list in the NHL, The Athletic, like, you'll see the surplus value list that we're talking about. This is including their signing of Thomas Hertl, which I think was a very good deal.
Yeah, good deal.
Even the Mario Ferraro deal, which I think was a very good deal. When you look at this chart, it is bright red. And whenever you see bright red on any form of a financial chart, the answer is always not very good.
No good.
Right? That's the first thing that you learn on Business Class 101. Just these contracts, like the Logan Couture contract at $8 million over 5 years, is so tough to swallow. Then you look at the Erik Karlsson one, and I'm the last guy to hate on Erik Karlsson because he was one of my favorite players growing up, one of the most dominant, probably the most dominant defenseman that we have seen in a very, very long time. But making $11.5 million for another 5 years is a dagger on any team. Like
terrible.
That he's only going to be on teams that are collecting bad contracts like Arizona pretty soon. The Marc-Edouard Vlasic deal, I love Marc-Edouard Vlasic, but he's making $7 million over 4 years. The surplus value is at negative $32 million. Didn't think it was possible for a surplus value to be more negative than the Karlsson deal. Vlasic somehow found a way. Marc-Edouard Vlasic is so weird. I remember when he made the Olympic team, I had no clue what he was. I had no clue who he was. I had no clue he was that good. Now I had no clue Vlasic was this bad.
I think he's just old. They signed all these contracts when they were in their 30s. Yeah. That's just not a recipe for success in a hard cap.
I think they just made the Stanley Cup Finals one year and wanted to repeat it as long as they could. Yeah. This kind of seems like a foreshadowing of what the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to be pretty soon.
Maybe.
Especially because they're signing all those guys to long contracts. But yeah, I think the San Jose Sharks is the answer. And it's kind of sad because like it's still the San Jose Sharks after they got rid of Brett Burns. I just don't know how.
Imagine.
I don't know how they're going to start a rebuild with these contracts. Like they're in this perpetual state of like purgatory where they can't get better and they're just going to stay bad.
Yeah, they're going to stay bad and they haven't even been terrible. Like, if you're going to start a rebuild, they need to finish like the bottom 3 for the next 2-3 years.
That's just not going to happen.
No, because like those players have terrible contracts, but they're still decent at hockey. So they're not going to be a terrible team because you have Coyotes and you have Montreal, who are basically AHL teams or college teams in the case of Arizona. So, they're in that tough spot where they're going to be drafting like 7th or 8th, and that's just not the best place to be drafting. You got to get lucky at that point to get a superstar. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content. and find the link to our full podcast and all our socials in the description down below.
Also, don't forget to turn on those notifications to get live updates on new videos that we release.